All right, Matt Stepp joining me again as we're talking 22-6A as we narrowing down all the 6A districts. 22-6A at Shadow Creek kind of dominated it in district play, 8-0. I think 3 or 4 shutouts. They got the offensive MVP coming back and Stewart, defensive MVP coming back, and Tommy Baker, newcomer of the year coming back, and Tristan Willis. But I tell you what, Stepp, all I can think about is 2 things: the first game and the last game. The first game took the wind out of my sails on Summer Creek big time, or excuse me, Shadow Creek, because they lost to Summer Creek in a terrible fashion. I couldn't get back on the Shark bandwagon until like week 8. Then I get back on it, and they get beat by Elkins in the first round of playoffs, and I'm like, why did I get back on this thing? Talk to me about Shadow Creek with the talent they have coming back. And remember, Pearland, this is what, year 3 for Coach Scott, right? So year 3 is supposed to be the year things happen. So tell me, can they stay on top, and how do they shake off those 2 games?
It was an interesting playoff for this district last year, but I like Shadow Creek. I mean, Texas commit Chris Stewart, 15 touchdowns receiving, is one of the top receivers in the country. Carter Stewart there in the secondary is going to be outstanding. He might take over on offense at quarterback. You know, he was the defensive MVP last year. He might be the guy at quarterback. That's a big question for Shadow Creek this year, is who's going to take the reins of the offense at quarterback. But they're talented. Tyrone Green's got a ball club that's always super, super talented. And I think until proven otherwise, they're the favorite in 22-6A. But they haven't, ever since that state championship win, they haven't had the, 2019 moving up to 6A right after that. They haven't had the playoff success that they enjoyed their 2 years in 5A when they won 11 playoff games in 2 years. In fact, I think since they moved to 6A since in 2020, I think they've only won 2, maybe 3 playoff games.
They've had a very Fort Bend Marshall type playoff.
They haven't. Run. So that's the big question mark with Shadow Creek now. Now you've got, Coach Butler retired a couple of years ago. This is Tyrone Green's second year. This is his team now. So it's going to be interesting to see if they can kind of get over that hump and kind of establish Coach Green and kind of get the bad taste out of their mouth from that first round playoff loss last year. You look at Pearland and Coach God, I think you look at that game against Atascocita in the second round last year, that they gave Atascocita a really good run for their money in the area playoffs. That was a nip and tuck close ball game that Atascocita had to pull out late. I think they're the clear number 2. It's because Pearland plays tough defense. Jalen Stewart, Joseph Credit, DeMarco Jenkins in that front. They've got guys on that defense who just will get after you, and they make life difficult. They make it tough to score on you. They've got experience back at quarterback in Jake Westmoreland, a really speedy wide receiver in Jordan Hernandez. You think of Pearland, and you think of them running the football and being a run-heavy team. Jordan Hernandez had 15 touchdown catches last year, just as many as Chris Stewart over at Shadow Creek. So they can throw the ball when they need to. So the key, I think Shadow Creek's a little more explosive, and that's why you give them the edge over Pearland. But Pearland's right there, and because they play such tough defense, they're going to be in every game.
When you look at this district, man, it's one of these districts where you feel like you can pencil in the playoff squads because you can pencil in Dawson and Manville. But can you do that this year? Is Dobie going to sneak up? Because, I don't know if I have faith in the other squads.
Remember last year, this district came down to all that craziness in the last game of the season where Dobie threw a Hail Mary to get into the playoffs and get a point differential against Manville. And at the time, I think it was Dobie. No, I can't remember if it was Dobie against Manville or Dobie against Pearland Dawson. I think it was Manville they beat in week 11, and they were already up on Manville, and they threw a Hail Mary to win by like 21, and that put them in the playoffs, and the announcers didn't know the tiebreakers and were like wondering why Dobie
why they running it up.
Yeah, they're running it up. Well, no, they had to run it up. They had to get in the playoffs. So it was one of those crazy deals last year. It took a lot of the stars to align for Dobie, and Dobie's tough. They're not a pushover team. Danny Fitzmaurice does a great job there. DeMarcus Hodge is an excellent running back. He's going to take over the offense full time. And that wing T offense, when they get rolling, they can be tough to stop. But I think this year, I think Dawson's not going to leave anything to chance this year. I think they're going to get into the playoffs. And I think Manville, I think Manville, their sophomore class at Manville loaded. They are super, super talented. Kirk Martin says that's he's so excited about that group. You're going to see a lot of sophomores see a lot of time for the Manville Mavericks. So I think you've got your 4 playoff teams kind of stratified there. And I think Dobie, if there's a party crasher like last year, it'll be Dobie. But I do think Memorial has a chance to be a little bit better this year. They bring back 7 starters on defense. A lot of questions over at South Houston. They don't have a head coach right now. Patrick Longstreet got promoted to Pasadena ISD athletic director, so they have not yet hired a head coach as of Memorial Day when we're recording this. So that hire should be made, I think, sometime this week. So there's some questions at South Houston. I think Rayburn has a chance to be one of the most improved teams in the district this year. They're running the slot T Mafia stand up, Sergio Gonzalez. They've got 19 starters back, Ward. So they bring back just about everyone. Second year in that offensive system. I think Rayburn, I'm not saying Rayburn's ready to challenge for a playoff spot quite yet, but I think Rayburn has a chance to be one of Houston's most improved teams in 2025. Just from what they were in 2024, looking ahead to 2025, I think Rayburn has a chance to be one of the Houston area's most improved ball clubs.
Nice. They have enough to pass up Dobie for 5 or no?
No, I don't think so. Not this year, but I think they're going to be a lot better, a lot more competitive across the board, especially running that unique offense. It's really tough to stop. They're going to shorten games. They're going to keep their defense off the field, and they're going to use that offense as their best weapon to keep other teams honest and control the clock and to control the tempo of a football game.
Excellent. All right, throw me 1 through 8.
We're going to go Shadow Creek 1, Pearland 2. We're going to go Manville 3, Dawson 4, Dobie 5, Memorial 6. I'm going to go Rayburn 7, South Houston 8, and Alvin 9. Alvin also has a new coach, Matthew Bass, coming over from Shadow Creek, is now the new head coach there at Alvin. So they'll probably be, I think they'll be probably scrapping the flex bone offense. So you might have a year of transition there with Alvin learning the new offense. So, but I think 7, 8, and 9, those 3 could flip flop and be in any order.
Excellent. All right, man, you got me thinking about that Dobie play now. Why are they celebrating so much? They're just running the score.
I know, it's crazy. It was one of the craziest things. That's what makes Week 11 in Texas High. You better get your tiebreakers ready because it's always craziness Week 11.
Well, I leave that for you. You find them out for me, then you pass it on.
I'll text you.
Yeah. All right, buddy. It's the Monster District next week, 23-6A. Let's talk about that, and then we'll wind out with 24-6A down the stretch. So I appreciate you joining me, Step.
Appreciate you.